murder in one American town.
And nearly all of the killings have one very unexpected thing in common: a supposed good friend. 2020 starts right now.
The first body came out after midnight, but it was only the first.
When the murder started, for the most part, they were just another murder.
Shauna Hawk, Jean Balcom, Deborah Slaughter.
Each one seen individually.
Here's another homicide.
2 murders in 2 days.
Who is African-American. Caroline Love, Michelle Stinson.
Another victim to roll out.
A lot of women are in fear.
I just talked to her and now she's dead.
The patterns of women being killed didn't really add up.
Brandy Henderson and 9 others.
These 10 murders.
The murder count possibly totaling 13.
Why didn't police see it sooner?
All victims of an unknown suspect.
Whoever did this was a ghost.
Danger disguised as a friend, and his victims never saw him coming.
One, why did it take so long to see a pattern? We feel bad that we did not know that sooner.
But it wasn't just police. It was those of us in the media and I think the community.
Man, it was right there. This young mother was killed in the same manner. All had been strangled.
He looked at me and he said, "We think we have a serial killer."
You know, if you don't get him off the streets fast, he could do it again.
I was not going to stop until I found out who did this.
If we'd only had the little pieces.
Shauna Hawk.
Had we only known what we know now.
She was one of his victims too.
So this was Shauna's first prom. Oh man. I remember the day she found the dress. Purple was her favorite color.
Shauna Hawk was a very beautiful young woman. She went to Central Piedmont Community College.
All I can tell you about Shauna is that incredible human being.
Raised by her mother, single mom at the time. She was industrious, ambitious, worked. She wanted to make something out of herself.
She was the apple of her mother's eye.
Shauna was born on December 2nd, and I was all of 18 years old. I remember when Shauna was crying, and the minute they laid her on my chest, our eyes locked, and she just calmed right down.
She was younger than me, but, you know, bossy. That's the right word for Shauna. She was bossy. Every time.
She's worried about the long hours and whether she's going to be able to keep up with her schoolwork. She actually talks with the Taco Bell manager, a guy named Henry Wallace.
I went and met him once, and he said, "Nice to meet you, Miss Sumter. I've hired your daughter, and I think she's going to be great on our team."
That year, February the 19th, was on a Friday.
Dee Sumter refers to that day as Horrible Friday. But it started out as just any other day at their home on Elon Street.
She said, "Well, I'm gone. I love you." And I said, "I love you more." And then she stuck her head back in the door and she said, "Mom, I love you." And I said, "Baby, I love you more." And then she took off.
That afternoon, Dee gets a call at work.
Her godson's mother called and said, "Miss Dee, have you heard from Shauna?" And I said, "No." She said, "Miss Dee, I'm not trying to say anything, but something's wrong. I don't know what, but something's not right."
She noticed some unusual things around the house when she came home. Her daughter's car was not there. That wasn't unusual, but what was unusual is it was a cold day in February, and Shauna's purse was in the house and her winter coat was in the house.
She's wondering, well, what's going on? Where is she?
I called her boyfriend and I said, "Daryl, get over to my house, please, now." And he's just shaking his head. He said, "This is baffling." I said, "More than baffling. Something is definitely wrong."
And they decided to call the police and report her as missing. As they were waiting for the police to respond, Daryl decided to go looking through the house and just check.
I hear his footsteps. He walks into the bathroom.
He pulled back the shower curtain and found Shauna in the bathtub in a small amount of water, fully clothed, and she was dead.
The next sound I heard was him blood-curdling scream. He runs back down the hall. Miss Dee, dial 911. She's in the bathtub." Last thing I remember is seeing them push her out on a gurney doing CPR.
It was obviously too late at that point.
Subsequently, we find out that she was raped and then strangled inside of her bathtub.
And that was kind of unusual for us at the time. We did not have a lot of strangulations during that time with the homicide investigations.
Strangulation is rare. It's more commonly seen in domestic cases or cases where people have a relationship.
Murder? I couldn't hardly even spell the word murder before Shauna was murdered.
We didn't have any damage to the doors. We didn't have any damage to the windows. So we believe that she allowed the assailant to come inside the residence.
The killer was also meticulous in terms of going through the house, making sure he wiped down anything that he may have touched. So they had no DNA, they had no fingerprints. In effect, whoever did this was a ghost.
Who would want to kill this beautiful, innocent, sweet, kind, loving person? My best friend, my daughter.
We didn't find anything significant that would draw us to point to any particular suspect at the time.
She couldn't have had an enemy. She wasn't that kind of person.
So after she was found murdered at her home, the police tried to locate her car. It was not discovered for weeks, and when it was discovered, it was found in a parking lot at Central Piedmont Community College.
The front seat was pushed back, and Shauna was short. So I think the only thing they took away from that is that it had to be somebody that was taller than Shauna.
In the course of their investigation, police actually are missing something rather important. 8 months earlier, a young woman by the name of Caroline Love disappeared. And it turns out that Caroline and Shauna were friends.
Something ain't right. They need to go back and look at what happened to Caroline, because Caroline's missing and now here Shauna is dead.
What's coming is an incredibly rude awakening.
There's some decomposition on the body.
For the Charlotte Police Department.
What soon followed was a wave of death and grief unlike anything this town has ever seen.
The best way to describe Charlotte in the early 90s would be is that it was growing extremely fast.
Charlotte was at the beginning of its banking boom.
Johnson from 20.
After the Charlotte Hornets got here, I think that's when everyone started using the term world-class city. The skyline seemed like it changed every 3 to 4 months.
Charlotte was booming. A lot of steel and glass and a lot of looking upward. Maybe not enough looking down.
Police are pointing out the drug dealers.
And what was happening on the ground.
Drugs are a problem in every large city in America.
In the neighborhoods and in communities.
Police say that this is what they call a crack house.
We were headed towards one of our highest murder rates in the city's history.
On the legitimate side, banking was the growth industry. On the criminal side, drugs was the growth industry.
Gun was found behind the dresser along with the crack bag.
It was a very, very violent period of time.
Drugs and their debris were...
In fact, I would say it was the most violent period in Charlotte's history.
Members of the violent Mustang gang were arrested.
In the 90s, we were not equipped to handle the murder rate. We had maybe 8 homicide detectives, but only 6 were actively working.
It was almost like they were having to work homicides like car accidents.
It's the 90s in Charlotte, North Carolina. Skyscrapers are going up, but at the same time, a series of crimes are unfolding. 20-year-old Shauna Hawk is found strangled in her bathtub, and her friend and co-worker, Caroline Love, has vanished.
Caroline Love went missing in June of 1992.
Caroline lived in East Charlotte. I lived in West Charlotte, and we all worked together at Bojangles.
The Love sisters, Kathy and Caroline, worked at Bojangles with Henry Wallace, who was Shauna Hawk's boss at Taco Bell.
She was a really fun person. She always had like a really cute boyfriend.
She didn't show up for work.
don't sound like her, you know? Something's definitely wrong.
I know my mom, I remember her calling like everybody. She called everybody in our family, like, have you seen her? Is she over here?
It was like she just disappeared off the face of the earth.
She was living with this young lady by the name of Sadie McKnight. Sadie McKnight and her boyfriend, Henry Wallace, helped file the report for the missing person of Carolina Love.
Kathy, Henry, and Sadie are the ones who went to the police station to file the police report.
Shauna had the news on and she said, Mommy, Caroline is missing. Something is wrong. It's not like her just not to come to work and not call me or call work or say something.
When Shauna Hawk is murdered, police don't immediately tie that to the disappearance of Caroline Love, but there is a connection.
Before Taco Bell, Shauna had worked at Bojangles with Caroline.
She and Shauna were close friends. They were in high school together. They worked together. They were buddies. They hung out together.
My mom was on it. She was like, there's no way that within a year that Caroline's missing, and then now one of her good friends is dead.
They always remained hopeful that she would be found alive and okay.
I thought so many times that she was gonna come back. So I remember even when searching for her, I had these two little dresses, and I wore them because I wanted to look nice, you know. I wanted to look nice in case she showed up.
4 months after Shauna Hawk was murdered, another young lady, Audrey Spain, turns up murdered as well.
I think this is one of my favorites.
Audrey was a free spirit. She lived life on her terms.
Spirited, adventurous, positive, a hard worker.
Audrey Spain was another young, attractive black female who also worked at Taco Bell.
I do remember receiving a call from Audrey's manager telling me that she had missed going to work that particular day and that he was concerned.
So they actually sent the manager or the maintenance people to her apartment complex, and when they entered the apartment complex, or entered her apartment, they found her deceased on the bed.
I don't know how much information they actually gave us at that time. I just remembered that she had been murdered, she had been strangled, there was a rape also.
It was devastating. It's just not something that you ever expect to have to deal with. Audrey was my younger sister, and we grew up together, so it was very difficult.
What did I miss? How did this happen? And you're totally blindsided. Yeah, totally.
The interesting thing about that crime scene was that the thermostat it was the summer months, had been turned way down.
The crime scene techs, when they got there, were shivering.
That's because the air conditioning had been cranked to slow down the decomposition process.
Apparently, her body had been there for at least 2 days.
In the first 6 months of 1993, Shauna Hawk and Audrey Spain have been strangled to death.
Before Shauna was murdered, a friend of hers, Caroline Love, had vanished. Even so, the detectives have no clue that these cases are connected.
I just don't feel like they knew. Maybe she was random, maybe not.
These cases never came together because there were other detectives working it and not just one. And so we had very little information to go on at the time to try to link it with any of the other homicides.
We just knew that we had another young black woman who is found murdered.
We have a possible serial killer working in the shadows. But do we know that? We have no idea.
In the months ahead, more Charlotte women will fall victim to strangulation and murder. But the killer will make a mistake, giving police a glimpse as to who he is. 1993 is the year of living dangerously in Charlotte.
Caroline Love, Shauna Hawk, Audrey Spain.
Peak murder rates, and somebody is killing young black women.
It was earlier this afternoon when a family friend found the body of the woman.
It was September of '93. We were called out to a home where a woman's body had been found.
When police got to this apartment off of Marvin Road, they found two very frightened children.
Michelle, yeah, I was there. Vividly remember Michelle Stinson. Here's a young woman who had been murdered inside of her own home with her children present.
Michelle Stinson was killed in front of her two children.
A friend drops by to visit Michelle.
He looked in the windows and saw one of her little boys playing and, was banging on the window.
Where's your mommy? Where is she? And they tell him, well, mommy's asleep on the floor.
And he was getting ready to leave when the little boy opened the door and he went in.
He finds her dead on the kitchen floor.
There were signs of strangulation, but her cause of death was 4 stab wounds.
As Michelle Stinson's bloodied body was taken away, those who knew her said goodbye with tears and tried to make sense of it all.
My goodness, what person, what monster could take the life of a mother in front of their children?
Police say that there is no sign of forced entry, and that indicates that perhaps Michelle knew her killer and invited him in. Despite that, they failed to find any viable leads or suspects.
Michelle Stinson's case, like Shauna Hawk and Audrey Spain, and the still missing Caroline Love, goes unsolved.
You can't even stay at home and be safe anymore.
For some unknown reason, they just couldn't connect the dots.
Dee Sumter is a remarkable woman. Yes, her heart broke, but her will didn't.
Dee Sumter went on a public campaign to call attention to her daughter's death.
It's better knowing.
And she turned what was the worst possible situation into something extremely positive for this community when she, along with Shauna's godmother, Judy Williams, started an organization called Mothers of Murdered Offspring, which is still here.
I just knew I had a daughter who was murdered and it wasn't being investigated properly. I was appalled by that, angered by it, and I was not going to stop until I found out who did this.
They felt that the police department or the city didn't care enough because they were young black women.
Dee Sumter, whose daughter Shauna was on that list of victims, still wonders what if some of the faces were white instead.
Every time another youngster was murdered, there was Dee calling the press, going after the police, saying, "What are you going to do to help us?"
She was turning up the heat on the police.
They particularly attacked the police each and every day about what we were doing and what we were not doing, because they thought that we should be doing more, and we were telling them that we couldn't do any more than what we had. We were overworked and we were understaffed, but we were doing the best that we could.
Dear killer, I am the mother of Shauna Denise Hawk.
She wrote a letter to the editor calling out the person who took her daughter's life.
Something in me said he's got to have some type of a heart. Might be a dark heart, but it's a heart. Please, please, please come forward and turn yourself into the authorities so justice can be served and so you can get the help you need and so forgiveness can be given. For without this, you are eternally doomed. Can I have a moment, please?
Dee Sumter's letter appears in the Charlotte Observer. And in the same day's paper, a brief article, a woman in Charlotte found dead in her apartment. Here we go again, another victim.
In the mornings when Vanessa Mack had to go to work, her babysitter would come here to her house to pick up her 4-month-old daughter.
A young lady by the name of Vanessa Little Mack was murdered in her home.
I said, Vanessa, I said, get up, you know, like that. And then she didn't move and she didn't say anything. So I turned the bedroom light on. And I said, oh God.
Vanessa Mack was killed in February of 1994, almost to the day that Shauna Hawk had been killed a year earlier.
Blood was on her face and a towel was around her neck.
Her baby daughter, just yards away, was okay. Police believe the infant was in the home when her mother was killed.
Vanessa Mack was a hospital worker.
Just an honest, hardworking young lady doing the best that she can to provide for her family.
I don't know why they would have did it, because she was a good girl. She didn't bother nobody.
Vanessa Little Mack's cause of death was once again ligature strangulation.
There is a link to previous killings, but police don't seem to notice it at the time.
Vanessa Mack had a sister who worked at Taco Bell. So again, the correlation of another person working with somebody at a Taco Bell.
We started looking for financial card records and discovered that a bank card was missing from the scene.
They got her banking history and found that her teller card had been used unsuccessfully.
In her final moments, Vanessa Mack tricks her killer, giving him the wrong PIN to her ATM card.
She had made it up. It wasn't the correct password, so that's why he couldn't get into her account. She still fought back. She didn't give him everything he wanted.
There are security cameras on the ATM.
So we looked at the security camera footage and we could possibly say that it was a male of dark skin complexion.
But it wasn't a great picture. There wasn't a lot to go on.
The only thing you could see in the photograph was his ear.
And we did see an earring in the figure of a cross at that time.
A hoop cross earring. Only thing the photograph showed.
But that killer wearing a gold cross earring is about to make another mistake, revealing his identity.
Like a beast, sitting, waiting for a prey, just waiting to go and hurt someone.
It's March 1994 in the city of Charlotte, and someone has gotten away with murdering 4 women in a year's time.
My goddaughter was one of the victims. Shauna Hawk. She was one of his victims too.
Shauna Hawk found strangled in her home last February. And then 2 weeks ago, Vanessa Little Mack also strangled.
All black women in their 20s, all strangled to death in their own home.
Something's not right here, you know? Something is not right.
I mean, that's one question I want to have for the police department. Why hadn't they shown a real interest? And I really felt that we've been neglected.
All being investigated as seemingly unconnected. That is about to change in one single deadly day at the same apartment complex.
The Lake Apartments, and I would refer to them as the infamous Lake Apartments, because if there is any location in this town that's affiliated with these cases, that's the location.
The next victim is on March 9th of 94. 18-year-old Brandy Henderson, a young mom.
She was funny, she loved to joke around, she sang off key, but she thought that she could sing and we just let her do it.
Brandy lives with her boyfriend Lamar Woods and their 10-month-old son, Tyrese.
Brandy told me that when she had Tyrese, that she felt like her life was complete. She felt like she had made a masterpiece.
One night in March, Brandy calls her cousin George, asking him to come over and hang out.
She was like, well, I've got some Chinese food that I ordered from takeout. Why don't you just come over? Come on over. Come see me. And I said, well, it's already 8 o'clock. I'm tired. I've been working all day. I got to get up early tomorrow. And she said, oh, come on.
They're talking on the phone. Then there's a knock on the door.
The phone call was interrupted, and she said someone was at the door.
And I heard her in the background saying, just make sure you lock the door behind you. I didn't worry about who was there because she said lock the door behind you, so she trusted him.
Late that night, Brandy's boyfriend comes home from work.
The first thing he notices that sort of catches his eye is that kind of like the lights are off, which is a little bit unusual because he knows Brandy is home.
He turns on the light. The apartment's been trashed.
His stereo is missing. The place has been robbed.
So he starts checking around and he finds his kid and notices the kid is not really breathing normally. So then he's like, what's going on here?
Someone has tied a pair of shorts around 10-month-old Tyrese's neck. This child is struggling to breathe.
He runs to help him. He unties the things around his neck and then finds Brandy.
Brandy was in the bedroom, lying on the bed with a ligature around her neck.
You're watching as this woman's body is being carried downstairs, knowing her child has been injured, possibly gravely, and luckily he survived.
The next morning, as soon as I turned the news on,
we don't have a significant break anywhere in the case. We're still hoping that somebody may come forward with some information.
They had a stretcher rolling across the sidewalk in front of her apartment. And I knew at that time that it was real, and I just lost it because I just could not comprehend that I just talked to her and now she's dead.
The killer stole not only the stereo, but a Pringles can of coins that Brandy had been saving up.
However, this suspect got in there. Apparently he was let in or had access to get in on his own.
Contact 60130 on tag 2. Right at this moment, detectives get an urgent radio call. They're needed back at the Lake Apartments.
Another woman is found strangled.
I could not believe that the next day we're back at the same apartment complex where another woman is found dead in her apartment. And this woman is Betty Jean Baucom. She's 24 years old. She has a 3-year-old daughter.
Betty Baucom, who lived somewhere in those same apartments, worked at Bojangles.
Betty never did anything wrong to anybody. She always tried to help people, and I mean, it just really hit us hard here.
The stuff hit the fan. It was crazy town, man. Everybody was over there. It seemed like there was 10,000 police cops over there.
I was interviewing people who were racing into the apartment complex.
We came here to make sure that my girlfriend was safe because her husband is at work and her daughter is home alone.
Did this concern you when you heard this?
Yes, it did. I mean, it's unbelievable.
The fear that it stoked was just insane.
I grew up in New York and I thought this was going to be like, you know, a safe haven out here. And apparently there is no safe haven anymore.
So now we have a major problem. Now we have 2 young ladies in the same apartment complex have been found murdered, and there's a lot of conversation.
I was in court and saw one of the homicide detectives, and I asked him, you know, what's going on? And that was the first I heard. He looked at me and he said, we think we have a serial killer.
Police worry this could be a serial strangler.
Betty Jean Baucom's car has been stolen.
We're looking for a vehicle now of the latest victim, and we believe the suspect has probably fled it.
So during this time, you know, we have an APB out for Betty Baucom's car, and we're looking citywide for the car.
Police found the car in this parking lot. Actually, it's right across the street from the apartment complex where the women were found murdered.
On the floor of Betty's car is a Pringles can stolen from Brandy Henderson.
So that connects the 2 murders at the Lake Apartments. Whoever killed Betty and stole her car must have also killed Brandy and stolen her coins.
Tonight, police aren't taking any chances at all. They're setting up perimeters all around the Lake Apartments.
Investigators say they need more information quickly.
You know, if you don't get him off the streets fast, he could do it again.
Use caution, be careful, and think before you open the door.
The killer is out there somewhere, and they feel certain if given the chance, he could strike again.
Word tonight of a serial killer in Charlotte, North Carolina.
It's the shock of recognition that comes when a community realizes there's been a killer in its midst.
So now we have a major problem. Now we have two young ladies in the same apartment complex have been found murdered. The media has now been involved.
Be careful letting them into your house. If there's some doubt at all, you feel nervous with the person that may be coming to your door, don't hesitate, call 911.
Everybody's in uproar, everybody in a panic.
The city was on edge, you know, just fear all over the whole city.
It was scary. It was scary. I can remember calling some friends that I know on that side of town and say, hey, be careful.
Investigators say they need more information quickly. Young women were murdered in the same apartment complex, and their killer is still out there somewhere.
Minutes before Brandy Henderson was murdered at the Lake Apartments, she had been on the phone with her cousin George Burrell.
She said, hold on, somebody's at the door. And I heard her in the background saying, just make sure you lock the door behind you.
The day after the murder, George says he stops over at a neighbor's apartment.
As I walked in, to my left sat Henry Wallace, watching the TV. I had seen Henry Wallace at Brandy and her boyfriend's house. I had met him one time.
By daylight, detectives were back at the Lake Apartments with another murder on their hands.
The news came on. So we started watching the news, and it was about Brandy's murder.
Investigators say whoever killed these women was cold-bloodedly calm, spending a lot of time in each of their apartments.
I felt this on my shoulder. I felt a pat, like, you know, I'm so sorry. And he was looking at the TV, watching Gurney go across the sidewalk with her body, and his eyes just glow. He was just glowing, like, just, you know, like amazed, like he was excited. And I could just see that in his eyes, like he was just fixed on the TV.
Brandy Henderson's 10-month-old baby was also attacked and left for dead.
And he's like, I'm so sorry, what happened to your cousin? And Henry said, she was always there with her baby by herself. When somebody come in, she would say, lock the door behind them. I had that flashback to when I was speaking to her, and she said, just make sure you lock the door behind you. And I knew at that moment that it was him. I said, oh my word, he killed her.
George says he immediately told a police officer about his suspicion, but he says the officer blew him off.
By then, they knew that they had a serial killer on their hands, and they needed to find him quickly, but they didn't find him quickly enough.
As they're processing all of this with Betty Jean and Brandy Henderson being murdered at the Lakes Apartments, one more person is found murdered about a mile away, and her name is Deborah Ann Slaughter.
She loved to laugh. She had a very contagious laugh. She also had a beautiful voice. She and I both grew up singing in church together. I remember Boys to Men came on the radio singing The End of the Road. I just remember us going, you know, to the end of the road, and I can't let go. That was the last time we sung together.
Deborah Slaughter lived in the Glen Hollow apartments, which were the same apartments that Audrey Spain lived in.
Henry Wallace had also lived at Glen Hollow at one time, and Deborah worked at the Bojangles, same place where Henry Wallace worked.
And my mother did give us warnings. Her exact words is, there's this serial killer in Charlotte, and I need y'all to be careful. And I would say to Deborah all the time, be careful. I always told her to be careful. But Deborah was a tough person, and she just wasn't scared of anything.
It was this last Thursday the bodies of Brandy Henderson and Betty Jean Balcom were discovered. 2 days later, Deborah Slaughter was found just a mile away.
At some point after letting this man into her home, Deborah Slaughter comes to a horrifying realization.
Once his attack was on, Deborah Slaughter made the connection between the recent murders. At that point, she said, "You're him." So Deborah did fight because Deborah knew that she was going to die.
Deborah Slaughter's case was much more violent than any of the other victims, and you could tell that there was a big struggle inside the home. She fought for her life.
Lovey Slaughter sees it every time she closes her eyes, her daughter's body lying on the dining room floor of her apartment.
When she knocked on the door just kind of pushed open, and she walked in. And when I opened the door and saw her laid on that floor, next thing I know, I look up and I see 2 firefighters bringing my mother down the stairs, and she's crying, and the first thing she said is, "Deborah's gone." She said she's gone.
You've got, this person was strangled here, this person was strangled here, this person was strangled here. Huh.
Tonight, police aren't taking any chances at all.
Looking back,
The killer is out there somewhere.
for myself, as a reporter, I keep thinking, why didn't we start putting 2 and 2 together?
Go ahead, stop.
Then you have the police who are trained to do these kind of things. Why didn't they do it?
Look closely. Police say this is the face of a serial killer.
Who is this man who has confessed to the murders?
Once I touched him, so it was out of my control. It was out of my hands. So I couldn't stop it. There was no way I could stop it.
We have a possible serial killer working in the shadows.
And somebody is killing young black women. All black women in their 20s, all strangled to death in their own home.
There's some kind of a bold demon here, one like never before.
He's hiding in plain sight, and he's doing it very cleverly. He fools everybody.
He portrayed himself as the big brother, as the good friend.
And I remember him telling me, "It's gonna be okay, she's gonna come back."
He hugged me. He knew he had killed her.
So he kind of walked into their life knowing that at some point he's going to take their lives.
I didn't want to, but something or somebody was taking over my body.
He writes a name, then a second name, then a third name, but he keeps going.
He was talking about killing women like you're in some sort of boring book club.
The general tone in Charlotte was, why didn't you guys figure this out earlier?
Saying that they didn't prioritize these murders because the victims were black women.
You guys blew it. How could you miss this?
It was this last Thursday the bodies of Brandy Henderson and Betty Jean Balcom were discovered. 2 days later, Deborah Slaughter was found just a mile away.
Investigators have now contacted the FBI trying to set up a profile of the killer.
Use caution, be careful, and think before you open the door. We don't have a significant break anywhere in the case. We're still hoping that somebody may come forward with some information.
Charlotte police are desperate to find this killer. They do get something to work with from Brandy Henderson's boyfriend, Lamar.
We asked him who would Brandy allow into the home without any problem. And he said Henry Wallace.
Once the detective on Brandy Henderson's case got the names of who she would have let into the apartment, he went to see if any of them had any criminal history. Henry Wallace did. He had a misdemeanor larceny charge, and there was a mugshot of Henry Wallace.
That's when Detective James Stansberry, who's been investigating the Vanessa Mack case, walks into the room.
He comes in and he sees the photograph of Henry Wallace. In that mugshot, Henry Wallace is wearing a hoop cross earring in his ear.
I looked at the photograph and something hit me.
The detective remembers that from the ATM on Vanessa Mack's case.
I saw the earring with the cross.
And that's similar to the same earring that we saw on the picture of Henry Wallace's arrest photo.
I see this and say, we may have something here.
Investigators hope this car stolen from Balcom spawns new leads.
Betty Jean's car is found across the street from the crime scene, Nissan Pulsar, and that was the biggest break that they've had to date, which was inevitably what led them to their suspect.
They hit a jackpot near the trunk area of that car where they found a palm print. That palm print matched someone who was already in the system.
That palm print came back to Henry Louis Wallace.
So now we're going to look for the person, Henry Louis Wallace.
March 12, 1994, around 2 in the afternoon, Deborah Slaughter's body is found. 3 hours later, police locate Henry Wallace and place him under arrest.
And when the cops came in, he had bathroom door shut. Had my bathroom door shut. Hiding in there? Hiding in there.
Initially, he is not giving up the goods.
The police sent in literally teams of detectives trying to get him to talk. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. They sent in 2 more. I don't know what you're talking about. Enter Detective Tony Rice.
Tony Rice goes into the room and started to talk to Henry.
And he said, Henry, you mind if we just say a little prayer together? And he actually held Henry's hand and said a prayer.
After the prayer, then Tony said, well, now, can you tell me about what happened?
Henry said, give me a piece of paper. And he started writing down all the names of the women.
He writes a name, then a second name, then a third name, and these are victims that police had already suspected him of murdering. But Henry Wallace keeps going. Another name, another name, another name. A total of 10 victims. Charlotte police are stunned.
That was the first the police knew of the depth of how many people he had killed.
Henry, if you would, go ahead and just talk up for me and state your full name.
Henry Louis Wallace.
The police decided to record his confessions.
Shauna Hawk, I really didn't have any intentions of doing what I did to Shauna. I stopped by to see Shauna one day, and she gave me a hug. And when she gave me a hug, I had her real close, and I said, I want you to have sex with me. She said, you're joking, right? I said, no, I'm not. It's not a joke.
He gave a full confession. That's very unusual. Many of them deny it to their dying day, so to speak. But Henry Wallace didn't.
I told her to get dressed. I took her to the bathroom. That's where I maneuvered the chokehold on her. And until she passed out, and I filled the bathtub with water and placed her in it.
Coldest thing I ever heard in my life. He was talking about killing women like you're in some sort of boring book club.
Henry Wallace admits he raped each of his victims before killing them, and usually robbed them.
But what's really unusual is that Henry Wallace knew his victims, and they knew him.
That's what's different. He knew them, and he had to know them. He couldn't kill a stranger, he said.
I would always hear the voices of the people that I killed. I would always see them. I would always see a shadow of them. I would always hear their voices. I would always hear the, laughter from them.
Shauna Hawk's mother, Dee Sumter, says that Henry Wallace actually showed up at Shauna's wake.
I'm thinking this is some kind of a bold demon here, one like never before. Had the literal gall to show up at a service for someone that he knew he personally killed.
The thing that makes my blood run cold and just send shock shivers up and down my spine is the fact that I saw him after Shauna was murdered, and he expressed his condolences, and he hugged me, told me how sorry he was.
And he knew he had killed her.
I wanted to tell her so bad, Dee, I killed your daughter. But I was so scared. I was so scared. And I couldn't do it.
I mean, to be hugged by your child's murderer, showing up and sending his sympathies, that is some cold, calculated stuff going on right there.
We begin to get a bit of a portrait of Henry Wallace emerging from the photos shown in court.
He had many strengths in growing up. People liked him, and he was social.
Henry was a great person, very nice guy, got along well with everyone.
Yearbook photos and schoolmates who spent time with him.
But he also had some obviously very lethal problems.
He would have had every opportunity in the world with any of us. He could have easily gotten any of us, but he didn't.
Was there satisfaction in that for you? I didn't want to, but something or somebody was taking over my body, and I couldn't stop, even when I tried to stop.
Police say this is the face of a serial killer, a man who choked the life out of neighbors and co-workers. His name is Henry Louis Wallace.
Henry Wallace was born and raised in Barnwell, South Carolina, a small town about 3 hours south of Charlotte.
Before he became a serial killer, Henry Wallace was a fast food manager who had served in the Navy, had been married, and then divorced.
The news of his arrest shocked his hometown.
I still have a hard time believing now that it was
Me too.
our Henry.
Former classmates and the high school yearbook seemed to portray a completely different image than that of a cold-blooded killer.
Henry was a great person, very nice guy.
He was a good guy. He was fun. He had the biggest smile, the biggest personality, always happy. You know, he was the first male cheerleader we ever had. I would have never guessed in a million years that Henry had any kind of issues where he would do what he's done. Never in a million years.
He would be the person who's responsible for more deaths in Mecklenburg, Charlotte, Mecklenburg than any other person that we've came in contact with.
I think the community was truly stunned. Those kinds of cases didn't happen here. Charlotte wasn't the kind of place where we would have a serial killer.
After Henry confessed to all of the murders that we believe he did in North Carolina, we began to formulate how are we going to tell the public.
Information indicates that this person was responsible for the murder of 10 women in Charlotte.
When we made the announcement, the city ate us alive. The media ate us alive.
I do remember the police coming out and saying, we have a serial killer, but you know what? Our officers did a great job.
The investigators worked tremendously hard and did an excellent job on the investigation of all of these 10 cases. We're sorry that we did not get him identified earlier. Had we done that, then we maybe could have saved the lives of some of these women.
The general tone in Charlotte was, why didn't you guys figure this out earlier?
The community became outraged.
The police was well aware of this a long time ago.
There were some in the community who criticized the Charlotte police, saying that they didn't prioritize these murders because the victims were black women.
I sat and just cried in my heart and outside because I wanted that same energy and effort to be extended to my child.
There was not a level of caring. This is where the racial disparity comes in.
We covered Dee, we covered her press conferences. One of the things that she made everyone think about and talk about was if these had been white women who were dying in South Charlotte, each killing would have been a huge story.
Race is always a factor in criminal investigations. Until America sees that it is not a factor or we have to mention it, do an interview, race is always going to be a factor.
All these cases were professionally and competently handled. There was nothing given short shrift.
One of the other stunning aspects of this case was how well Henry Wallace knew most of his victims.
And it seems that fast food restaurants are the common thread that bind Wallace to most of his alleged victims.
Everything was right here all along. It's been right here. And they've done everything except look right here.
Obvious connections. There's that word again, connecting the dots. In my humble opinion, blatantly ignored.
It was like, you guys blew it. How could you miss this?
It's not that we missed this, it's just that we were overwhelmed with the cases.
During that 2-year period that he was killing people, there were approximately 300 people murdered.
All of those cases were on desks of 6 homicide detectives in the 90s. We didn't have the technology. We definitely didn't have the manpower, and we definitely didn't have the resources.
When Henry Wallace confessed to police, he listed names of people that investigators didn't even know had been murdered.
Well, there is one name in particular on that list that I am certain wasn't on their radar at all, and that is Valencia Jumper.
Investigators say Valencia Jumper died in her third-floor apartment. They say this also appears to be the unit where the fire started.
Valencia Jumper came to Charlotte. She was a student at Johnson C. Smith University.
Henry Wallace knew Valencia's sister. That was their connection.
She was found in a house that had caught fire. That didn't fit any patterns before or after.
It was ruled that maybe she was out drinking with her friends and had too much to drink, put a pot of beans on the stove to eat, and the fire engulfed the apartment.
Investigators say they suspect Valencia Jumper was sleeping when the fire in her third-floor apartment broke out. They say a pot left on her stove started the fire.
I went into the kitchen and I opened a can of pork and beans or something, and I put it in a pot, put it on the stove, and I turned the stove on high.
He set the whole scene up that it looked like she fell asleep while she was cooking.
And I went to her kitchen. I noticed there was a bottle of rum, 151, and I poured the rum all over her body.
He considered her to be his little sister.
There were so many things in this case that were missed by various people. The only people who didn't miss the signs were her family. And her family fought tooth and nail to say this was not an accidental fire.
After Henry confessed, the medical examiner started re-examining the facts in that case. And one of the things that stood out was there was no soot or ash or anything in her throat where she breathed in smoke.
It should have been ruled that she was dead before the fire started. This case haunts me probably the most because of mistakes that were made, that had they not been made, Henry Wallace would have been charged then. And she was victim number 5. We wouldn't have had 5 more.
Henry Wallace's confession leaves veteran law enforcement shocked and almost caught off guard. But the next thing he does is remarkable. He he takes the police on a field trip.
I knew this day was coming. I mean, I knew and I wanted it to come. And there have been several times during the actual crime that I was committing, I wanted to die. I ruined everything, man.
Henry Louis Wallace knew all of his victims, and they felt comfortable with him because he portrayed himself as the big brother, as the good friend.
Always very polite. It's the only male neighbor that I would even let in when my boyfriend wasn't at home. I mean, he was a friend. I trusted him.
Henry was like the perfect human predator.
So he kind of walked into their life knowing that at some point he's going to take their lives.
You never realized what Henry was all about. And by the time you did, it was too late.
If you would go ahead and start with the first name that you put on your list there. Carolyn Love, is it?
Caroline Love.
Where did you meet Carolyn?
Caroline, I met her through my girlfriend's lady.
And so we go to the board and we're looking for certain names, and Carolina Love name is not on the homicide board. So why is this name on the list?
Caroline Love was a woman that went missing in June of '92. She was a friend of Wallace's girlfriend at the time.
Remember, Shauna Hawk and Caroline Love were friends and they were co-workers.
We talked to Henry and he was very forthcoming, and he gave us a lot of information.
I dumped her body on the left side near where a little ditch kind of led from the highway back into the woods.
You think you could find it again?
I know I could.
And so we decided to find Carolina Love. We put Henry in the back of the van, and he directed us out to this remote area of the county to a field.
The investigators were told exactly where to look for another victim in this bizarre case.
And it was the skeletal remains of Caroline Love.
That tells the cops that this guy is for real. He's a killer because he's the only person who's going to know this.
We have to tell the public that this case was not a missing person, it is now a homicide.
Painful. I cried all yesterday. I cried all last night.
Caroline's family is even more devastated. This is the same man that went with Caroline's sister, Kathy, to file a missing persons report.
Caroline's niece, Sarah, was only 8 years old when her aunt went missing. And who comforted her during that time? Henry Wallace.
Then I remember being in her room with him and sitting on his lap. And I remember being sad and crying. And I remember him telling me, it's gonna be okay, she's gonna come back.
The same day that Henry is consoling Sarah, the police arrive to speak with Caroline's family. They have no idea the killer is in their midst, listening to every word.
And in talking to him, he remembered us talking to Caroline Love's family about her having an orange jumpsuit from Bojangles. He said after hearing that conversation, he decided to go back and remove that orange jumpsuit from her, because if we were looking for it, it would be easily seen by an aerial helicopter or somebody's walking by.
He returned to her body disposal site, which was outside, numerous times.
I went back a couple of times since then, so I would remember where the body was.
Caroline's family, who had held out hope for so long about the fate of their loved one, now have to face the cruel reality that her remains have been found.
You told me she would come back, but you didn't tell me she would come back like that. I mean, we didn't have anything to go back to. Her body was bones.
Back in the interrogation room, detectives ask one final question.
Is there anything else you can remember, Henry? That's it.
Anybody else that you can think of in Charlotte or anywhere else that anything like this has ever happened to you before? You lived in South Carolina with your mom. Anything there that you remember?
One person. tell us about her. Her name was Shanda Bethay. They called her Shan.
Henry Wallace confesses to police that he killed 18-year-old Tashanda Bethay in 1990 in his hometown of Barnwell, South Carolina. It's believed that Tashanda was his first victim.
She left home about 5 o'clock on the 19th, and they reported her missing on the 20th because she didn't return home.
She was walking one day. I picked her up, and I told her that we were going out to get some pot. And I pulled off to the side of the road into the ravine area.
Tashanda's body was found 2 weeks later by people fishing in a local pond.
The autopsy results show that she was strangled.
A few days later, Henry Wallace is brought in for questioning.
He was a very strong suspect, but we had nothing on him. He covered his alibis good.
I was questioned about her death, but I did not.
After literally getting away with murder, Henry Wallace moved to North Carolina, where he would kill again and again and again.
It's absolutely devastating. You sitting there thinking the worst, hoping for the best. And that's exactly what these relatives were doing. And unfortunately, it was not a good ending.
Henry Wallace, dubbed by some in the media as the Taco Bell Strangler, confesses to killing 11 women. But the question remains, why?
Two of the FBI's most respected mind hunters want to know what's inside Henry Wallace's mind.
He had some obviously very lethal problems.
They sit him down for interviews and put it all on videotape.
It was out of my control.
For years, the FBI has been developing behavioral profiling techniques. And there's a woman named Ann Burgess, a professor and author from Boston College, who has helped them.
Until we understand what's going on in the mind of the criminal, we're going to have more and more victims.
She was one of the few women in the FBI at the time doing that work, and I thought it was time to get her story out there. So after a little bit of convincing, she agreed to write this book, A Killer by Design. Wallace is featured in the book because he was a really interesting case.
Henry Wallace was, not that we would call him atypical, but certainly very different from some of the others. People liked him, and he was social.
Burgess was tapped by Henry Wallace's defense team to do an analysis on his mind.
The jury was to decide whether he deserved death or whether he deserved life. They just asked us to do a background and present what we thought.
She and retired FBI agent Robert Ressler visited Wallace inside the jail and conducted interviews. All of it was put on videotape.
The footage was provided exclusively to ABC News 2020.
Henry Wallace was quite open in what he talked about. He had many strengths in growing up, but he also had some obviously very lethal problems.
Do you understand any of this any better since you had a chance to kind of reflect on it?
Within this shell, there are two people. One person being a chameleon. He will adapt to anything, any environment, any situation, and he's a very well respected, very well liked person. He almost lures the women in for the other person.
So he had good Henry and bad Henry. Good Henry was a friendly person that made friends very easily, dated women very easily.
But then he said the bad Henry would come out, the monster, so to speak. He came out, he was angry, he had to kill them. Why he couldn't stay good Henry for a long time, we don't know, but he just couldn't.
But what's generating the anger?
Experiences in the past.
One of the reasons that Wallace points to for committing his crimes is he did have a really tough upbringing.
Henry tells them that when he was a child, he he was molested. He also reveals that he and his mother, when he was growing up, had an extremely volatile relationship.
I was terrified of my mother. Terrified. From the beatings.
Henry also described being constantly teased about being a cheerleader and other things.
He was teased about his size, he was teased about his color.
Wallace was trying to reshape this really terrible childhood that he had by taking out his aggressions on people that he knew as if that was a replacement for the bad situations of his past.
He married his high school sweetheart, this prom photo capturing them in happier times.
But the marriage didn't last long and ended right before he moved to Charlotte.
It all starts collapsing after the wife left him.
I grew to hate her very much. And there's still a lot of hatred inside for her. And I think that had I lived in South Carolina and not in Charlotte, that she would probably be one of the victims.
Wallace did think about killing his wife, but he was not able to actually go through with it.
I think that the majority of the victims reminded me of her in some way. Or when the murder and rape was taking place, who I was seeing was her and not the victim.
After his marriage dissolved, then Henry had to move back in with his mother.
That really kind of was the straw that broke it all down. And that's when he started into his murderous behavior.
My mom was very violent, and I think more than, other than a mate in these women, I was looking for a mother as well, or traits of my mother. And they were there, and all of them.
Henry Wallace was danger disguised as a friend, and his victims never saw him coming.
They felt comfortable with him because he portrayed himself as the big brother, as the good friend.
I think that was one of his motivations in a lot of these killings, was they were women he liked who didn't like him that way.
That's a more classic kind of a type of motive, if you will, for a serial killer.
One of the biggest questions for Burgess and Ressler was, how did Henry Wallace evade police for so long?
The only time that the police were concerned when the two murders occurred on the same day. That's when Barkham and Henderson.
Same day.
Yeah. That's when all of a sudden they started seeing connections and things that had happened 20 months ago.
You've got to do the victimology first, because they would have realized that they knew each other in some capacity, and that would have been a way to then zero in on Henry.
Burgess testified for the defense, and she told the jury that Wallace, while he was committing these murders, was in an alternate mental state.
I did feel that he was not in total control of his thoughts, that he was being controlled, if you will, by the obsession.
Henry Wallace was convicted of the rape and murder of 9 women.
I think we all knew what the verdict was going to be, guilt. So the real question was, does he live, does he die?
The jury recommended death. And again, I don't think anyone was terribly surprised.
It's such a sad case. It's not like you celebrate.
I just want people to not forget, you know, what happened to these girls in Charlotte, North Carolina. We don't want people to go around and hear the name Henry Wallace and not know who he is, you know, because, you know, he was a black serial killer that killed a lot of black women. I want the world to know what happened and that these girls' lives mattered.
Finally, there's justice. But there's one more victim of Henry Wallace's rampage. The sole survivor is now all grown up.
18-year-old Brandy Henderson strangled to death.
Brandy Henderson's 10-month-old baby was also attacked and left for dead.
Henry said he got mad and said, "You got to do something with this baby. You got to shut this baby up," because Tyrese was sitting right there beside her. He was pulling on his mom, on Brandy. So he took a pair of shorts and tied around his neck until he got quiet.
I think about Brandy's child often. How do you go on with your life? How does any loved one go on with their life when something this horrible happens?
The picture that we took of him at the hospital, it's like I still see that picture in my mind every day.
After he got out of the hospital, his father took him to Chicago. And when Tyrese was 5, his father passed away.
I'm still here. If it wasn't me reading these stories, I would have thought that I had died. So I'm like, reading these, well, I know this baby died. I know this. He survived? Are you freaking serious? He's well, he has a family, he's married, he's doing something with himself.
You know those Pop Rock candies? That's like him. That's exactly what I can describe him as. He's a ball of energy.
I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm an entrepreneur. I try and be a great role model because I do have 3 sons.
He's been through a lot of things. He's had it rough.
He realized he never grieved for his mother, and he grew up without his mother's love.
I went through a whole grieving class. I wrote my mama a letter. I told her I was mad. I told her I was angry. I told her how much I missed her. I told her how sorry I was because I know that I wasn't doing the right things.
When I heard about his mother, inside I was crying, outside I was strong. I'm finding out more and more about the situation with his mother every day. I went and searched for it just to know, what type of woman she was and how it's instilled in him.
She was such a great mother. She would have done anything at all for him. Brandy told me that when she had Tyrese, that she felt like her life was complete.
They tell me that she was a great person. They say that she wanted the best for me. They're like, I was her masterpiece. It's like, I'm somebody's masterpiece. Like, that's a huge compliment for me.
I saw Tyrese when he was like 9 years old. We went to Chicago and visited him. But since then, since that time, I lost track. I feel guilty about it, but I just could not stay in contact with him because I knew he would have all these questions and I wasn't ready.
After 20 years, Brandy's cousin and close friend, George Burrell, is now reuniting with Brandy's son, Tyrese.
What's up, dog?
Oh, man.
What's up, old boy?
Oh, my gosh, man.
I've been in Charlotte.
Wow. Yes. And hello.
Liz, George,
nice to meet you,
Liz.
Finally.
Man, it's good to see you.
You too. You getting old. You got
thank
gray
you.
hair. You got a gray beard.
See that?
Yeah.
The guilt, when she told me, come over and see me that night, and I didn't go, and then he came and killed me.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, as Brandy's son, listen, tell me out. As her son, my boy, you're not responsible for anything that happened to us. I also remember her life isn't the only life. It was also other victims and there's other family members who feel the same pain.
You healed, but you still got them scars.
Look at my neck, dog.
Man. I remember that, looking at you through the hospital door. Look, I'm shaking. Wow. That's how close, look at that, that's how close you came to not being here. Oh, my word. Wow. Your lips are still red from being strangled.
Yeah, and that was the main part. I'm like, that's why I say I'm the only survivor. Like, that's a survivor.
Yeah.
That little baby right there, like.
And that's you now.
Yeah, that's me now. Still with the tears and all, bro.
Wow.
At trial, Henry Wallace was found guilty of the assault on Tyrese.
I just like, why didn't I die? Truthfully, I wanted to die for a long time. As I started learning more that I'd be too selfish, she fought too hard to keep me alive. And that's why I didn't die. There's no time frame on grieving. There's no time frame on how long you can and can't miss somebody. But it's like, I'm a survivor.
Wallace was sentenced to death, but now he's asking a judge for a new trial.
For him to be here pleading for his life, not fair. It's not justice.
And I just believe it's time. It's time for us to finally see that end. It's 25 years this year that he was sentenced to death, and I'm ready for him to be executed.
I think he got an appropriate sentence, but North Carolina has not executed anyone in a very long time.
My goal now is to start a petition and let people sign that so that we can get an execution date and finally get this resolved.
I was determined that I wasn't going to hate him. You kind of have to let it go, otherwise it will consume you.
I don't feel hate for him now. I started journaling, and it really did help.
I forgave Henry years ago for the madness of what he did.
I don't harbor that hate for him, but I do think that justice should be served.
Audrey is buried in South Carolina. My dad donated an acre of land for a new cemetery, and Audrey was the first one buried in that cemetery.
She has a niece named Audrey Lynette Franklin. Part of her legacy will definitely continue, so we're excited about that.
She does have a son. His name is Eric Slaughter. He reminds me of Deborah a lot. I think she would be very proud of him and the progress that he has made in his life.
I just wanted mothers to come together and join our forces and our hearts. MAMO, Mothers of Murdered Offspring.
The whole point in MAMO being created was to make sure that Shauna's memory lived on.
Should have never happened. But it made us better detectives, and it made Charlotte Police Department a better homicide unit.
In a statement to 2020 about the Wallace investigation, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department says the detectives worked the cases as diligently as they would have any homicide case, with the race of the victim being irrelevant. In the aftermath of the murders, the department says it added staffing to the homicide unit and implemented regular mandatory meetings to better identify related cases.
You know, the guys in the homicide unit, I know them all from that time. It's just that they were put in a situation where you just couldn't win.
Listen to the families, because they are the voices of the victims.
I fight for my own breath sometimes. I fight to be here. If I had $1 for every time that I've been told, Miss Sumter, I know I'm gonna make it because you're making it. None of these young African-American ladies deserve to die. They were young ladies who deserve to have a bright future. And so, you know, my hope and prayer is that even though as tragic as this was, something positive will come out of it.
We should point out tonight that 2020 did reach out to Henry Louis Wallace for comment. He declined to be interviewed.
Dee Sumter, who started the organization Mothers of Murdered Offspring, has now retired, but the group continues to help the families of victims. That's our program for tonight. I'm Deborah Roberts.
And I'm David Muir. From all of us here at 2020 and ABC News, good night.
Tonight on an all-new 2020.
The saga of Mike and Dahlia DiPolito was so outrageous, so unbelievable.
Their relationship was like a powder keg. Those two had such sexual attraction.
The reality show Cops is there waiting to capture every second.
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey, Boynton Beach Police Department. Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am.
Can you imagine you come home from a simple morning at the gym and you find out that your husband's been murdered?
I can't listen to him, ma'am.
Listen, is there anybody that you know that you think would want to kill your husband?
Did you ever love Mike DiPolito?
Yes. I married him because I loved him.
Did you want your husband dead?
No, absolutely not. I'm in intensive therapy now, just trying to cope with everything that's happened because it's hard.
How do you explain then what we saw and what we heard on those videotapes?
And that's when Dahlia DiPolito says the phrase that goes around the world.
I'm positive, like 5,000% Charlotte.
Okay.
With evidence like that, what seems like evidence, how did she end up going to trial not once, not twice?
I'm going to the gym, maybe I'll bring you Starbucks on the way home.
In the middle of her workout, Dahlia receives a phone call from the Boynton Beach Police.
Sorry, I just missed your call. Please leave this message, and I will return your call as soon as I can.
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey, Boynton Beach Police Department Detective Division. I need you to call me as soon as you can, ma'am.
A few seconds after missing the call, she calls the number, and it's the Boynton Beach Police asking her to come home.
Okay, can you come right back to your residence, please?
Yeah, I'm leaving right now. Is it okay?
Ma'am, I'll tell you everything you need to know when you get here.
There were cameras everywhere, including from the hit TV show Cops.
She goes rushing up, looking very confused. You see her in her black leggings, her tight spaghetti strap tank top.
Listen, we had a report of a disturbance at your house, and there were shots fired.
Once she arrived, that's when she was told that her husband was killed.
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am.
And that's when she falls into his arms, wailing. She is screaming, she's saying, no, 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 no.
No. Try to calm down. No. Listen, right now we need to get you.
From the perspective of neighbors, they see this nice young couple, and next thing they know, something horrible has happened there. And they're all wondering, who would want to kill Mike DiPolito? Is it random? Is it somebody that could have come into my house?
My name is Jillian Jalali, and I have a podcast called Court Junkie. This case has it all as far as true crime is concerned.
Mike and Dahlia seemed to be a perfect match. It was truly a fairy tale.
Dahlia's father was Egyptian and her mother was Peruvian.
She was born Dahlia Muhammad.
Dahlia comes from a religious family, very close-knit family.
And when she was 13 years old, her family moved to Boynton Beach, Florida, where she essentially grew up.
Boynton Beach is located in Palm Beach County. Well, that's a pretty glitzy county in Florida.
When people think of Palm Beach County, they often think of Mar-a-Lago, where President Trump lives. He has that resort there. Boynton Beach, 15 miles away, is a typical American suburb.
It's sort of a middle class, more of a blue-collar community.
Dahlia lived in a gated community. She lived there with her mother. Some describe her as beautiful. She's certainly attractive, especially when she's got her hair and makeup done.
I first met Dahlia DiPolito back in 2015.
Has your story been told yet, truthfully?
No, it hasn't.
How would you describe your personality?
Really bubbly, very friendly, really social.
What types of values were you raised with? What was important in your family?
We were constantly doing family activities, family vacations, and a lot of family dinners, big Sunday dinners.
What were your hopes for her?
To grow up, be married, be happy, and have kids.
Dahlia grows up and she becomes supposedly a real estate agent.
But the problem is that actually takes a lot of really hard work, and she's much more into the quick buck.
I think she was a woman who early on decided there were certain things in life she wanted, and she was going to use her sexuality to get them.
Money. She wants money.
Some people might call Dahlia a gold digger, and if she could see maybe a fast buck in someone, she was gonna go for it.
Enter Mike DiPolito. He says that when he met Dahlia, she was working as a paid escort.
He meets her on a website called eros.com. He was ordering an escort to keep him company over the weekend. He ordered her like a pizza.
Mike DiPolito is an interesting guy. Just like Dahlia, he wants a lavish lifestyle. He yearns for the finer things in life.
Michael DiPolito was a muscular guy. He worked out, and he liked the high life too.
What was your initial impression of Mike DiPolito?
Charming.
What drew you to him?
His personality. He was really, really engaging, and it felt a really strong connection.
So, Mike DiPolito is a very likable guy. He's not afraid to be vulnerable.
And he just seemed sort of like a guy you'd see at the gym, maybe not too bright, but working hard and trying to have a fun life.
Mike describes his first meeting with Dahlia, that she was sweet, almost naive.
Give me some insight into what it was like when you first met.
We got into outdoor activities and stuff, and we got bikes, and we started biking together.
What do you think Michael saw in you?
My personality, who I was, my sense of humor. We talked about all kinds of things. We watched the news together. We were big movie people. We both love Starbucks, coffee drinkers.
Mike had a very difficult upbringing, and I think he really yearned to feel loved and to feel safe and taken care of. He had this void that needed to be filled, and she made him feel like he had never felt before. But the problem that Mike had was that he was married at the time.
They start an affair, a hot and heavy and steamy affair.
He said the sex was unbelievable.
Did you have any scruples about getting involved with a man who was still married?
No, I was told that he was going through the divorce proceedings, and he had actually sent me papers showing that he was going through the divorce process.
Not only did Mike DiPolito have a wife, he also had a checkered past.
Well, long before he met Dahlia, he'd gone to prison for running a boiler room stock operation.
He was conning old people over the phone.
They would call people up and they would sell them these penny stocks, convince them that these were going to become stocks that were going to be worth a lot of money, but in actually were just scams.
Basically like the movie The Boiler Room.
Listen, I'm presenting you with an investment opportunity that I think you're gonna find very interesting.
Where he's cold calling people and trying to get them to invest in foreign currency.
He was ripping people off.
Along the way, he was definitely making enemies.
Mike pled guilty to organized scheme to defraud, unlicensed telemarketing, and grand theft. And he served a total of 2 years in Florida State Prison, followed by 28 years probation.
They're in love, they are determined to leave their past behind. So this ex-con and his former escort are in this whirlwind romance, and 6 months later, they're married.
The way that it happened, it was just so impulsive, and it felt right.
You went down to the county
courthouse? The courthouse the same day, applied for the license. It took a couple of days to, for it to legally be official and everything.
This was a shock to Dahlia's mother, Rhonda Muhammad.
And she showed me her ring. I was like, wow, you got engaged? And she says, no, we got married.
And you thought what?
I wasn't happy at all, but it was time.
If you look at the pictures of them, she has this beautiful smile. He's grinning. They're embracing each other. It looks like true love.
From an outsider looking in, they're the happiest couple.
And that brings us back to that hot August morning in 2009. Mike DiPolito is dead. He has apparently been murdered in his house. And the big question is, why? Who would want to do this?
Police can't help but wonder if this grieving widow is actually keeping a deadly secret.
Are you sure that you don't know anybody who want to kill your husband?
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey. Ma'am, I need to talk to you. It's very urgent when you come home. It involves your husband. There's been an incident.
Can you imagine? You got your whole life ahead of you, and you're in love and you're planning everything, and then you come home from a simple morning at the gym and you find out that your husband's been murdered?
I don't wish this on anybody. It's just beyond, words. It's so hard to be able to just fully express.
Your husband, Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am.
The condo is surrounded by police cars. The street was mobbed with detectives, crime scene technicians.
I can't let you in, man. We have to do our job. You want to find his killer, okay?
She says, I want to see my husband. And the police say, no, you can't.
If you want to help your husband, you need to go to the station with these gentlemen and tell us everything you know about who he knows, who he's connected to.
And they put her into the police car, and now she's being whisked away to the police station. So they take her to the interrogation room. She's sitting in there.
I'll explain to you what we're going to do, okay?
They turn the camera on once Dahlia steps into the room to watch her demeanor and to see how she was behaving.
I don't want to be videotaped.
Well, you're being videotaped. That's all part of it.
And still expressing grief and sorrow and disbelief.
I love my husband. We love you too.
No, you don't want to see him.
The police are treating her like a grieving widow. They're doing their investigation into who would want to kill her husband.
Listen, is there anybody that you know that you think would want to kill your husband?
My husband's on probation.
For what?
He's for stock fraud.
Stock fraud?
And in fact, she tries to steer the investigation to the victims that Mike had previously scammed money from.
Did you spend any time in prison? How much?
2 years in prison and 5 years on probation, going on to 6 years.
Oh my God. And what was that for?
It was for taking money. It was like, he explained it like boiler room kind of, where they would take money from people.
And she tells them that he had been in prison before for fraud, that he was on probation, and that he still owed restitution, almost $200,000 to several victims.
He's been trying to get off probation, and it's just been nothing but problems the whole time that he's been trying to get off. People weren't happy that he was getting off probation because it's a lot of money he's got to pay back.
She tells them that Mike was just about to get off on probation early, and the people that he had scammed money from were very angry and upset about this.
Well, when you say people, who are you talking about? People that were involved with him before, or?
A little bit of everything. He's constantly running into a lot of the guys that he was on probation with. It was a lot of money. It was $191,000 that he had to pay back.
He's got all these sketchy characters from his past. Yeah, they're the ones.
I guess somehow when he went away, some guys didn't go away. They left the country.
You mean went away, he went to prison?
Right.
Okay.
They left the country. And so somehow he was dealing with some of those guys because they thought that he owed them, and I don't know.
She gave very vague details about, maybe people that could have been angry with him. She didn't provide law enforcement with much information at all.
Well, I'm asking, if you know any names, then we can run these guys down and see what they know.
I don't know if the one guy that I'm telling you about, Pasquale, if he also went away or if he didn't.
She starts to kind of give names and tell them that there are possibilities of people that maybe had wanted to see Mike dead.
Is it Pasquale or Pasquale?
Pasquale.
Then Dahlia starts spilling some of Mike's other secrets, like his substance abuse issues.
He's recovering alcoholic.
Dahlia tells detectives that her husband Mike struggled with demons, alcohol, and drugs.
And so with him, it's very important to be like on a schedule and, you know what I mean, like have a system and very organized with everything.
Get up every day, go to the gym, go to Starbucks. He would go to AA meetings. He felt was so important to keep regimented. He did that to make sure that he stayed sober.
And in fact, Mike would have otherwise been at the gym with Dahlia, except he was recovering from liposuction surgery.
We were supposed to go to the gym.
Oh, both of you were supposed to go?
He had like 2 blood handles removed from here.
And so he was laid up. He couldn't exercise, he couldn't go to the gym.
We haven't gone since his surgery, but every morning, 5 a.m., we're both at the gym.
You're lucky.
What?
You're lucky you went to the gym. I don't know if you know he was shot. He was shot twice. And I want you to know all this.
Do you know this?
Not exactly. I mean, they told me he was shot.
He was found in the bedroom. He was shot twice in the head.
She brought up every negative detail of his life in those moments after she learned that he had been killed.
Well, you know, he's very, he used to be a drug addict, and...
What was his drug of choice? Crack? I'm going to be back. What I want to do is call right now. I'm going to go out and get in touch with the officers at the scene. I want to see if the house was burglarized. Okay. All right, just hang on for a second.
Thank you.
So when the police exit and Dahlia was still being videotaped, as they leave the room, she starts crying.
A few moments later, the detective comes back in and he has one more question.
There's no problems between you guys, no financial problems, with your family, you and him.
No, there's nothing.
In that police interview, Dahlia paints a rather rosy picture of their relationship. No problems, no drama.
But what everyone would soon learn is there actually was trouble in paradise.
Everything seems great. At least that's what Michael thought.
What he didn't know is that Dahlia DiPolito had another man in her life.
As Dahlia DiPolito sits in that interrogation room, there is still a lot that investigators don't know about her.
She uses men to give her money or to get into their lives so then she could then extract their money from them.
She knew how to use her sex appeal, and she had a lot of it, to get her way. And that's what she did very successfully with men, including Mike DiPolito.
She wanted Mike's house. She wanted all of his money.
She decided, hey, I got to figure out a way to get his stuff. She had several men wrapped around her fingers.
One of those men was a Florida businessman, Mohammed Shihada.
He was a 32-year-old Jordanian national. He was a quasi-actor.
In fact, if you go to the site for Mohammed's talent agency, his online portfolio is still there.
He really enjoyed playing poker and gambling in Las Vegas.
How did you know Mohammed?
I met him a long time ago. He had a convenience store business, and I had actually walked into his store. And that's where we struck up conversation, and we both had Middle Eastern background, and so we just ended up developing a friendship.
And you stayed in touch for how many years?
Throughout the course of maybe like 15 years.
So you considered him a close personal friend?
Considered him a friend. I wouldn't say close.
They began a flirtation, which was very heavily sexually charged. When she needed something, they would rekindle that old flame, so to speak. If she needed to vent about a guy she was dating or a relationship that she was in, she would talk to him. So in July of 2009, after Dahlia was married to Mike, she reached out to Mohammed once again, as she had done over time. She starts a narrative with him about Michael DiPolito.
Dahlia told Mohammed that she was physically abused, that he was controlling, and she just needed out of the marriage.
Were there any stresses on the marriage?
We got into little arguments and things, but it wasn't anything major.
But Dalia tells Mohammed that her husband is abusive, emotionally abusive, so much so that a regular divorce isn't going to cut it. So she wants Mike out of her life for good and turns to Mohammed for help.
She wants for a more permanent solution to her problems.
Dalia confides in Mohammed that she wants Mike DiPolito killed. They meet at a gas station in Boynton Beach. Dalia tells Mohammed that she's desperate, that she needs to have Mike killed.
It's a common thread throughout these types of cases. Beautiful women, and they also often involve allegations of abuse.
Mohammed is really nervous that if Mike DiPolito is killed, that law enforcement would come back to him, and he didn't want that to happen, and he didn't want Mike to be killed.
Mohammed Shahadi is actually the person that called police and said that Dalia DiPolito was planning to murder her husband.
We had a gentleman come into the police department advising they had some information in reference to a young lady that wanted her husband killed.
They captured this first conversation that they had with Mohammed on a tape recorder.
Okay, tell us what happened.
She asked if I knew someone who can kill her husband for her. I said, basically, no, I don't. She tells me, though, he's the nicest, sweetest nerd, but you can't stand him.
So at first we weren't sure what we had.
Do you know where she lives?
No.
At the time, we didn't know what to believe.
Her last name, I don't know.
Here's a gentleman who walks in. According to him, he's had a sexual relationship with this young lady, but he wasn't sure exactly where she lived or her last name.
Describe her.
She's maybe 5'6", 5'7", dark black hair, green eyes. She's a good-looking girl, really good-looking girl, actually.
The fact that somebody was going to get killed, it was bothering his conscience.
Did she ask you to find someone for her?
Yes.
So after that first interview, law enforcement realizes that they're gonna need to talk to Mohammed again.
What cops want Mohammed to do next is bold and risky. They want to set up a sting.
They say, we want you to put a wire on, and we want you to get her to outline this plan to kill her husband.
So Mohammed morphs into a confidential informant.
We have the informant contact the suspect by phone and set up a meeting so we can ID her. The mobile gas station was one of those places where they've met before in the past, so we decided to make that the location.
All right, you good to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right, good.
So police outfit Mohammed's car with some cameras, and they put a wire on him.
Hey, what's up?
And a few seconds later, she begins talking about getting her husband killed.
There's no small talk. Mohammed and Dalia launch right into a secretly recorded conversation detailing Dalia's murderous intentions.
At first, it seems like her motive might be Mike's money.
Honestly, you're worth seriously gonna kill him over that much money?
It's not even over like it's not even about money.
Dalia has no idea that every word coming out of her mouth is being caught on camera.
Okay, well, I'm trying to say is this guy's a professional. It's not all he does is get it done, that's it.
Right.
This is where he actually says he was going to introduce her to a hitman.
I know him, you know, like, he's good at it.
We realized that this guy was credible.
But now, how am I supposed to know what day he's gonna do it?
We were shocked how easily she talked about getting her husband killed.
He might tell you, oh, like, to get out of town or something for a day.
I'm not going out of town.
You even hear during the conversation her talk about no one would ever believe that she could be capable of murder.
His mom is not going to get suspicious of you or anything like
Why
that?
me? You know, telling somebody, you know, nobody's gonna be able to point a finger at me.
She ended up bringing $1,200 in cash. She believed that that money was going to be given to the hitman to buy a gun.
Yeah, go
ahead. I'll try.
She also bought 2 pictures.
I have a picture of him right now. You're sure everything else is okay?
Yeah.
You're sure?
Yo, what more sure can you want? You're planning a murder. Come on, stop, yo.
She's made a down payment on death.
And now Dalia DiPolito is about to come face to face with the assassin.
But little does she know, she is walking into a trap.
after Mohammed Shihada alerts Boynton Beach police about Dalia DiPolito's deadly plan, Dalia meets face-to-face with that hitman.
What she doesn't know is this hitman she's about to meet is actually Whitty Jean, Boynton Beach police officer who is working undercover on this case.
They agreed on a location, which was a CVS parking lot in the city of Boynton Beach.
Pretty much parking this exact spot right here. We had 2 cameras in the car. The cameras were positioned in the back seat. You can't help being a bit nervous as you're doing this.
Remember, there's 1,000 things that can go wrong.
She parked and got into the car and she said, hey.
Dalia shows up to the meeting with Whitty, and she's wearing a cute little sundress. She's almost flirtatious with him in the car.
We wanted to make sure that she caught my attention and my eyes. The way she was dressed, pretty much, I'm like, okay, she wants to show off her body. So, I have to give her a compliment. I told her, hey, you look good. Yeah, you look good.
She clearly thought she was talking to a hitman, and to her, this was something that had to be done.
How sick can you get everything going?
Well, that's up to you.
I mean, it is on like 15.
We were shocked how easily she talked about getting her husband killed.
She gave me definitely a sense of urgency. You cannot wait to make it happen. If you're going to make it happen, you have to make it happen this week.
I'll give you a quick breakdown of what I've done so far.
We talked about money, how much money she's going to pay me. At one point she said, well, I thought that I already gave you the $1,200.
$1,200 went to buy my heat, my gun, okay? A couple hundred, for other people to do things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
When I had to explain to her, $1,200 is nothing. I had to buy a gun, I had to buy a phone, I had to buy this car.
As she starts talking, what's going on in the minds of the police officers is, wow, this woman is real. This plot is real.
As a matter of fact, I've already spent more money, just to get it here.
Right.
Trying to tell her, look, however, which way you want it done, I'll do it.
So I just want to make sure that, this is what you want. Sure you want to kill this dude.
When she's meeting with the hitman, he's telling her, look, there is no turning back. When I leave you today, you have no way to reach me.
I explained to Dalia that after today, she wouldn't be able to find me to cancel this whole plan that we put together.
When it's done, you have to have an option to change your mind.
And that's when Dalia DiPolito says the phrase that goes around the world.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
Okay.
No, there's no, I'm determined already. I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
Her line is classic. I am like 5,000% sure, right? So it's, she is so committed to this.
Like 5,000% sure.
I didn't think she was going to be that open. I'm 5,000% sure. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
I'm a lot tougher than what I look. I know you're like, oh, what a cute little girl, whatever. But I'm not.
So she told me she may look like an innocent little girl, but she's a whole lot tougher than she looks. The most surprising thing about my meeting with Dalia was how adamant she was in making sure that this was done.
All right, well, good morning, Cookie. Okay. By the time you get back from the gym, you're going to find a dead body in the house. All right?
As the Boynton Beach Police Department are preparing for their starring role in this true crime drama, Cops television show are like flies on the wall, recording every bit of it.
Our police officers, our detectives, our professional staff, they every day are doing things in our community to keep people safe and to save lives. And for us, it was a great way to showcase that and to let the community and the larger community know what these heroes are doing every day.
Now, the Boynton Beach police say that show had been interested in their department for several months. And arguably, their cameras never captured a scene quite like this one. They are about to hit the jackpot.
Everybody knows why we're here. Chachi, you and Brian will go with me. Frank or somebody will call the wife.
Just like the undercover instructed her to leave the house, she did.
She grabs a smoothie, and she grabs her purse, and she says, bye, Mike, and she goes off to the gym.
Dalia is at the local LA Fitness, but back at her condo, police are there setting up an elaborate trap.
That looks good. I like it.
We've had set up a fake crime scene around the house, yellow tape around the streets, around the house. We make it look like her husband had gotten killed inside the house.
At 6:21 a.m., as Dahlia DiPolito was working out, that's when she misses that call from the sergeant at the Boynton Beach Police Department.
Sergeant Ramsey, can I help you? Is this Miss DiPolito, please?
He intentionally pronounces her name wrong to throw her off.
Once he got her on the phone, told her that something had happened and we needed her to come to the house.
They needed to break some news to her.
No, ma'am, I need to talk to you. Ma'am, I'll tell you everything you need to know when you get here.
As Dahlia approaches, she sees what's really a crime scene. She sees police, tape blocked off.
So the condo is surrounded by police cars. There's a crime scene van, there's crime scene tape, her apartment's roped off with the tape.
The front door to the townhouse is wide open with black fingerprint dust everywhere.
Dahlia arrives from LA Fitness from going to the gym.
And she rushes up. Dahlia DiPolito doesn't know she's being set up right now.
A really buff police sergeant tells her, your husband has been murdered.
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed.
Before the words are even out of his mouth, she starts crying.
And he even hugs her, and she figures she's got them wrapped around her finger just like all these other men. And little does she know, her world is about to come crashing down.
I tell you, ma'am, he's been killed.
Going into his arms.
She's wailing.
As I watch her breakdown as she starts to cry before the word killed is even said, this was the role that she had practiced.
And the play acting continues when they get Dahlia into that interrogation room. Everyone was in character that morning, including the undercover police officer, Woody Jean, who suddenly appears in the interrogation room to make a cameo appearance of his own.
You know who this guy is?
And tell us everything you know about who he knows, who he's connected to. Don't worry, we've already taken care of dogs with animal control for right now. Everything's under control.
Dahlia's acting, and the police are acting. As she's brought to the police station, everyone involved is faking it.
They think they have the goods to charge Dahlia DiPolito, but the police still want to see if they can make her crack. They're going to give her every opportunity to own up to what they suspect she did.
You have the right to remain silent and not answer any questions. Do you understand that?
She absolutely thinks that she has everybody fooled.
He was found in the bedroom. They were shot twice in the head.
He wouldn't open the door unless it's somebody that he knows. We don't open for anybody.
She believes that she's going to be able to convince law enforcement that she truly loved Mike and that she had nothing to do with his murder.
When the police asked Dahlia if she wanted her husband killed by any chance, she denied it, completely denied it. No.
You wouldn't want to kill him, I hope. Not at all.
We are fine, like there's nothing.
Dahlia DiPolito is pretending she knew nothing about this, and the police are pretending like her husband is actually dead.
Did you want your husband dead?
No, absolutely not.
Did you want any harm to befall him? Never.
No, never.
Suddenly, the tide begins to turn, and the police get tough with Dahlia.
They've had enough with her charade and with her lies.
Police are thinking that by ushering in that would-be hitman, the man that she paid to murder her husband, surely that will get her to come clean.
Do you know her?
Put your head up and look at her.
Put your head up.
I've never seen him.
What were you doing coming out of her house? Get him out of here.
Inside, I was kind of laughing because I knew that I spent a good 25 minutes talking to her, and hearing her saying that she's never met me was pretty shocking.
She denies ever meeting him, and she doesn't know who he is.
And then the detective all of a sudden goes from being the grandfatherly figure that he had been into more of a aggressive.
You're going to jail today for solicitation of murder. You're under arrest. That's an undercover police officer. We filmed everything that you did, recorded everything that you did. You're going to jail for solicitation of first-degree murder on your husband.
I didn't do anything.
Did you hear what I just told you?
I heard what you said, but I didn't.
Everything, listen to me. Everything has been recorded. You were photographed in the convertible when you sat in his car in the front of CVS. What do you want to do?
I don't think for a second that she thought that investigators in the interrogation room were going to turn on her.
Listen to me.
I didn't do anything.
You're going to jail.
I didn't do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
Can you talk about that moment when you realized the tables were turned?
I panicked. I was just completely frozen, and I couldn't move. I couldn't really process and digest everything that was going on.
Shockingly, the Boynton Beach Police Department media director posted the video of the staged crime scene.
Okay, who would want to hurt him?
The Boynton Beach Police uploaded the video the same day.
This was our way of getting video to our local media. We uploaded the video just as we did dozens of other videos.
We see this stunning video of this takedown, this woman crying and wailing. We'd never seen anything like it.
It's always a risky move for the authorities to release any information during an investigation. But Florida is one of the most open states in the country when it comes to sharing information with the public.
In a matter of hours, we were getting phone calls from national and international media.
I need you to take her to the station.
I thought it was going to be a very hot story. There's the jilted husband, there's money, there's video.
If you want to help your husband, okay? If you want to help your husband,
We were stunned. We were delighted.
When law enforcement confronts her with all of the evidence that she wants Mike DiPolito dead, Dahlia denies that.
Listen to
I
me.
didn't do anything.
You're going to jail.
I didn't do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
She's sticking to her script. She's crying.
And with the spotlight on Dahlia, the grand finale is about to unfold.
So finally they say, guess what? He's alive.
He's alive.
Come here, please. Come here. Mike, come here, please. Come here.
3 words to describe Dahlia. Liar, liar, liar.
Give me 3 words to describe yourself. Who is Dahlia DiPolito?
Understanding, sweet, and compassionate.
3 words to describe Dahlia. Liar, liar, liar.
What was that? I didn't do anything, and I didn't plot anything.
It wasn't like, kill him softly, don't hurt him. It was like, just blow the guy's brains out and, can I get a cheese sandwich with that?
I'm positive, 5,000% Charlie.
I see somebody who's struggling.
What? How is she struggling if she's 5,000% sure? The whole crime's caught on tape. I mean, what do you do with that?
It was a show, it was a tape. That was the purpose of it.
You were acting in those tapes.
Yes.
Liar, liar, liar.
He comes up with a defense that rocks the community. This was all for a reality show. She knew she was being taped. She and Mike wanted to be stars.
The thing about reality TV is that anybody can do it. Anybody can become famous.
I don't know what reality show a 40-year-old convicted felon could be on. They wanted to post it on YouTube to try to get acting parts. That was the plan.
It was so far out of left field that they might just believe it.
Even now, 11 years after the story first broke, the twists keep coming in the Dahlia DiPolito story.
On August 5th, 2009, Dahlia DiPolito's life changed forever.
Thank you for coming. I'm sorry to call you.
First, police tell her her husband is dead.
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am. He's been killed.
Then she's told she's been caught on tape planning his murder.
You're going to jail.
I didn't do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
Tell me you didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything.
You're going to jail today.
You kept saying, I didn't do anything. Just over and over and over again. Was that all you could think of to say?
They were accusing me of trying to have my husband killed, and I didn't. So that's what I kept continuously telling them.
When they turn the table, she doesn't fess up. She just keeps denying everything. And lacking that confession, they kept trying to shock her more and more.
And this is the part where what happens in that police department will go down in the history of detective work. This is a masterstroke.
The ultimate shock, you could call it a resurrection of sorts. Police tell her that her dead husband isn't actually dead.
Your husband is well and alive.
Thank God.
Oh, yeah, thank God.
Can I see
No,
him,
he doesn't
please?
want to see you.
They bring Mike in. Look, your husband's alive. We've got you.
Oh my God.
He's alive.
The show Cops is at the station capturing Mike's reaction.
Come here, please. Come here.
She keeps begging him to come inside the room, which he doesn't.
Mike, come here. Come here, please.
She sees her husband, and he's alive. What? You're alive?
This is a dead man walking and talking. You never see this happen.
Can't fix this.
Why not? I didn't do anything.
I heard you.
Mike, come here, please. Come here.
All of her skills as a femme fatale start rolling in. Mike, come here, baby, come to me.
With cameras rolling inside and outside the interrogation room, it is reality TV on steroids.
I don't know what's going on, please.
For Mike DiPolito, it's a surreal love story that quickly turned into a nightmare.
He never saw it coming. For Mike, this was a whirlwind romance. He was head over heels in love with Dahlia.
I met Dahlia and we got along very well. There was never any friction. We never argued. How can I say? Our sex life was incredible.
Meanwhile, the entire time she's plotting behind his back.
There's this side to his wife he has no idea about.
Mike DiPolito insists that the accusations made by Dahlia DiPolito that he is abusive are totally false. Still, Dahlia secretly wants out of the relationship. And authorities say if she can get out with a pile of Mike's money, that's even better.
Mike DiPolito still owed $191,000 restitution, and he was on probation for decades. If he could make that restitution, he could make an argument to get off probation.
But he says Dahlia told him she could help him with that.
Dahlia said, if you can come up with $100,000, I will take $91,000 of my own. I'll put it with your money and we'll send it to the lawyer together. It was her responsibility to wire the money to Mike's lawyer.
She says she's helping him. He thinks that she is. But in reality, she's doing anything but helping him.
Soon, Mike notices odd things are starting to happen.
Before I met her, I don't think I had a run-in with the police since I've been home from prison. I meet her, I'm running into the cops more than I ran into the cops probably ever in my life.
Mike will soon find out that someone is trying to frame him for crimes he didn't commit.
On 2 occasions, drugs were planted in his vehicle. Mike decides to take Dahlia away for a couple of days to the Ritz-Carlton. Mike is stopped by a police officer, and the police officer tells Mike that they had received an anonymous call saying that he was dealing drugs out of his Tahoe.
He goes, do you mind if we search? I said, absolutely, go ahead. He searched the truck, didn't find anything. It was very odd. And then the next day, I go to get gas in the truck, and I find a bag of pills. It looked like cocaine in there, and that's when that hit me. I said, wait a minute. You know, somebody put this in my truck and called the police on me. They just didn't find it.
Authorities say Dahlia figures he's an ex-con, and if she can get him sent away for drugs, he'll be gone for a really long time, and she's home free.
I remember I looked at Dahlia, I said, did you put drugs in my truck? She adamantly denied it, so I let it go. Fine, fine. But you know, every instinct's telling me that it doesn't make sense.
In fact, according to authorities, what she's really trying to do is get Mike DiPolito out of her life.
And that $100,000 he'd given to Dahlia, she was supposed to wire it to his lawyer, but she hadn't.
I knew clearly she stole my money. She's telling me she's going to get it back, and I'm doing everything in my power to believe her.
He just stays in the relationship. He seemed to be, I don't know, for lack of a better word, a chump for love.
Your ex-husband Michael claims you stole a lot of money from him. Money that was supposed to be used to pay his restitution. Did that happen?
No, it's money that he was hiding.
Police say that after her plot to try to get him jailed doesn't work, she ups the ante.
One morning, he gets a knock at the door.
We knocked on his door and we actually woke him up.
All I see is a bunch of cops, and I'm like, oh boy. I go downstairs.
Police department, open your door.
I hesitantly open the door.
First, he didn't know what was going on.
I thought they were there to arrest me.
And we ended up telling him what we were there for.
You have to come with us. Your wife's going to have you killed today.
Your wife has hired a person to kill you.
Relax, just
relax.
Take it easy.
Clearly, this just hits him like a ton of bricks. I mean, he literally takes a step back.
We ended up taking him out of the house and driving him straight to the Point Beach Police Department.
They already know why we're here. Your wife hired somebody to kill you.
I also played a little bit of audio where she says, hey, I'm 5,000% sure that I want him killed.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
It wasn't like, kill him softly, don't hurt him. It was like, just blow the guy's brains out and, can I get a cheese sandwich with that?
Even from behind bars, Dahlia is not finished trying to manipulate Mike DiPolito when she makes an astonishing phone call.
Well, hello. Hey, it's me.
Yeah, what's up?
Nothing, Mike. Can you please come here?
Is she ready to confess, or is this something else?
Everybody asked me, why'd you take the phone call? I had to take the phone call.
As Dahlia DiPolito is being led out of the Boynton Beach Police Department and over to the Palm Beach County Jail, she has an audience.
The press, having seen the video released by police, is there to greet her.
Already, the media is out there with their cameras capturing it.
I didn't do anything, and I didn't plot anything.
You were headed to jail. What was that first night like?
It was a complete nightmare. I wasn't even officially in jail as the tapes were getting released, and they were already all over the news. They were everywhere.
Till death do them part. And it's all caught on video.
In the hours since the police released the tape to YouTube, the name Dahlia DiPolito is making the rounds and is making a big giant splash on cable TV.
Bombshell tonight.
A newlywed in Boynton Beach, Florida.
Work it, cry. Problem, Ruh-roh, the hitman, is a cop. I could just watch the video over and over. It just is one of those clips that never gets old. The crying, the screaming, the bending over. Meryl Streep, wherever you are tonight, don't worry, you're safe.
You became a headline around the world. Everyone knew your name.
It was awful.
While in jail, Dahlia makes a few tearful phone calls, first to her mother.
Hello? Mom, I'm in jail. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
You did. I know you didn't. I know you didn't. Okay. How many times did I tell you to leave that guy? How many times did I tell you?
But her next phone call is unfathomable. From the jail, she calls Mike, the man police say she has just tried to have killed, and offers him no apologies.
Well,
hello?
Hey, it's me.
Yeah, what's up?
Nothing, Mike. Can you please come here?
Everybody asked me, why'd you take the phone call? I had to take the phone call. I had to hear what she was going to say. I couldn't help myself to not take that phone call.
Mike, please, I need an attorney. Can you please help me?
You said you wanted to have me killed. I heard that.
It's not true. That is not true.
Not true.
How can you believe that?
I heard your voice.
Frankly, it's unbelievable that Dahlia called her husband, the victim in this case, the target of her actions, the person she wanted dead, to ask him to help her.
It is just unbelievable to listen to. The fact that she thought that she could demand that Mike help her is just on another level.
And he's even trying to give her advice as to what to do while she's in jail.
You're going to be ran around in there for a little while, a couple days. You need to just try and just go with it. And keep to yourself and don't say a lot.
I know she's never been in there before. I mean, it's not a nice place. I tried to tell her, stop acting, you know, the way you're acting, or you're going to have a rough time in there.
Like, I love you. Everybody treated me awful.
Things get spelled out for Mike that he was a very lucky man. Prosecutors say that Mike actually survived an earlier attempt on his life.
When Mohammed Shihada was giving a statement to police, he told them that Dahlia had poisoned Mike's Starbucks iced tea with antifreeze. So law enforcement, they just ask him, was there ever an incident with iced tea? And Mike then realized that he was a lot closer to his demise than he ever realized.
She went out and came back with some Starbucks iced teas. And I take a sip and I spit it out so fast. It was terrible and I didn't think anything of it. I only took one sip. I was sick for about 2 weeks.
Dahlia's attorney said she never poisoned Mike.
Mike doesn't end up helping her find an attorney, but the attorney she does find ends up presenting one bizarre, wacky, intriguing defense.
It was a stunt. It was a hoax, a ruse, a plan that Mike DiPolito hoped to capture the attention of someone in reality TV.
You were acting in those tapes.
Yes.
It didn't make an iota of sense to me.
It was so far out of left field that they might just believe it.
We begin with the trial of a Florida woman arrested for plotting to kill her husband.
Your trial. Can you describe what that experience was like for you?
Confusing, really difficult. The cameras were there. The TV shows were actually filming the whole thing as I'm entering the courthouse.
Dahlia DiPolito entered the courthouse in a buttoned-up white sweater to meet the men and women who will likely decide her fate.
I have never had a case as a prosecutor that was so strong.
I'm a lot tougher than what I look. I know you see me, you're like, oh, what a cute little girl, whatever. You know, but I'm not.
You will see how determined she was to have Mike DiPolito, her husband, killed.
In opening statements, the prosecutor, Elizabeth Parker, wants to make sure these jurors don't believe that Dahlia is this little innocent figure and that she is a much darker, more evil person.
He asked her, "Are you sure you want to kill him?" Without hesitation, as if she had ice running through her veins, she says, "There's no changing. I'm determined already." My biggest concern, the evidence seemed to be overwhelming. But you have Mike, who's got a shady past. I knew the defense would make him out to be a con man.
Please tell us your name.
Michael DiPolito.
What's awesome about this case is that the jury actually gets to hear from the victim. In a plot to kill somebody, the victim is almost always dead.
I don't know how to explain it. I just don't know how to explain it.
He was a likable character. I knew that I just needed to get him on the stand for long enough to have the jury like him too. What did you think of your marriage?
I thought it was great. I was having fun with my wife. Was getting off probation, I thought.
Did the defendant seem happy?
Yes.
He completely owns up to his past.
I'm a convicted felon. I go to probation every month and report. I hold my head up as high as I can.
On cross-examination, when Dahlia DiPolito's lawyer keeps asking him and keeps repeating the word probation, Mike DiPolito bites back and makes the entire courtroom laugh.
You're like a parrot.
A parrot?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I've been called a lot of things. What's a parrot?
Did you do that on probation? Were you on probation? Did you do that on probation? Were you on probation? You know what I'm talking about. I'm just having fun with you. Come on, I'm with you.
You having fun
Yeah.
with me? Let me ask you something. Is this fun, Mr. DiPolito?
This sucks.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. We're not here because of me. You might as well put me up next. I mean, what are we doing here?
But another Mike is about to make an entrance into the trial. Mike Stanley, an ex-boyfriend of Dahlia's,
And you're gonna meet Michael Stanley.
who prosecutors say discussed with Dahlia planting the drugs in Mike DiPolito's truck.
So, the prosecution introduced tons of text messages between Dahlia and Mike Stanley.
They were talking about everything they wanted to do once DiPolito was out the way.
So their X-rated conversation is read on the stand by Boynton Beach detective Alex Marino.
Do you want my hot, tight body all over you?
You can just see how uncomfortable this police officer is as he's reading these steamy text messages.
Love you so much. I'm so horny for you. Some of the stuff was kind of cheesy. I mean, I had to read it up on the stand. It was not my best moment. Baby, I love you, and I only want to you.
She's telling Mike Stanley, once this guy's gone, you and I can have the life we've imagined. I will have Michael's money, we'll have this condo, everything will be good.
Greed was the very basic core of why Dahlia did this.
Parker says when Dahlia's plan to put her husband back in prison failed, that's when she took things a step further.
Yeah, but killing somebody, come on. Nobody's gonna be able to point a finger at me.
Determined already. I'm positive, like 5,000% Charlotte.
After the prosecution rests, now it's the defense's turn, and they are going to use that infamous video for their own purposes.
That's where this novel defense theory came into play, a defense theory that was actually a little hard to believe.
The plot for the contract killing of Mike DiPolito was never real.
He comes up with a defense that rocks the community, which is, this was all for a reality show. She knew she was being taped. She and Mike wanted to be stars. So they came up with this idea, and it was all a hoax. It was Mike DiPolito's idea, and Mike DiPolito was in on it, and she's not guilty.
It was a stunt. It was a hoax, a ruse, a plan that Mike DiPolito hoped to capture the attention of someone in reality TV.
Dahlia's lawyers claim that Mike and Dahlia DiPolito wanted to be famous. They wanted to be like the stars of Cheaters or Jersey Shore.
Selnick presents a computer forensic expert who found that Dahlia had searched reality shows on her computer.
The website name it says welcome to realitytvcastingcall.com.
It fits with his obsession about his appearance, his vanity, and others might be interested in his reality.
I was shocked. I mean, where was the evidence that this was a reality show plot?
Listen to me for a second, okay?
I didn't do anything.
At no time does she ever stand up and say, well, hold on a minute. This was all, Michael, Muhammad, wait a minute, this is all a setup. We were all acting, right? Wouldn't be that the first thing out of your mouth if you're about to be arrested.
And not only that, Mike DiPolito strenuously denied that it had anything to do with reality TV tryouts.
Did you ever have aspirations to be on a reality show?
No.
Did you ever act out any scenarios with a defendant for a reality show?
No. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I couldn't even believe they made something like that up. I don't know what reality show a 40-year-old convicted felon could be on.
This defense received a fair amount of eyebrow raising.
She didn't want to kill her husband. She just wanted to be on a reality show.
A pretty shocking twist in the case of the Florida wife caught on tape taking a contract out on her husband. Well, we got to bring in our legal analyst, Dan Abrams, on this one. And Dan, all of us just shook our heads when we heard this.
I've seen a lot of wild and crazy defenses in my day, and this is certainly one of the wildest and one of the craziest. The reaction to this defense was, are you kidding me? This is an almost impossible defense to win. And so I think in order for it to succeed, Dahlia DiPolito would have to take the witness stand.
Judge, the defense is going to rest.
But Dahlia does not end up testifying.
It was a daily yes, you're going to testify. No, you're not going to testify. And
Did you want to testify?
Yes, I did.
She's like poison candy. Attractive on the outside, but deadly on the inside. I was confident in the case that I had presented. I was truly concerned that it was such a bizarre defense.
I've been advised that the jury has reached a verdict.
Except this was nowhere near the end of this story.
Now closing arguments continue in the Dalia Dippolito murder for hire trial.
And this case will go to the jury before lunch.
It was a typically hot day in Florida, but that is not why Dalia Dippolito was sweating. She was facing up to 30 years behind bars.
Waiting for the verdict. What was that like?
It's nerve-wracking. It's just really stressful, really tense.
I've been advised that the jury has reached a verdict.
The jury took just 3 hours to come to a decision.
We find the defendant guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder.
I was numb. It wasn't at all what I was expecting to hear.
Verdict, we the jury.
I never had the impression or the understanding from my attorney that losing was a possibility. Everything was always, you know what, we got this.
Wow. We have really good poker faces, apparently.
We all just said, well, she's guilty.
Yeah.
It was just kind of unanimous.
And the defense didn't present anything that really represented this was for a reality TV show.
And she said, I am 5,000% sure. And that did it for me.
There is absolutely no moral justification for your conduct. It was pure evil. I'm sentencing you to 20 years in the Department of Corrections.
I looked at her in that courtroom and I just said to myself, man, this is sad.
I wish we were never here, and as far as the sentence, I'm 5,000% happy with it.
That seemed to be it. Case closed, except this was nowhere near the end of this story.
Everybody thinks, bye-bye, Dalia, that's it. But it turns out she got an appeal.
Well, in the last hours, the Black Widow, Dalia Dippolito, set to walk free.
The appeals court tosses out the conviction.
Dalia's lawyers argue there was a problem during jury selection. And then, 3 years later, a court agrees. And so Dalia Dippolito is getting a new trial.
Were you surprised?
The first piece of good news throughout the whole process.
So now we move on to Dalia round 2. That's right, she's coming back a second time. And this time, there's a new cast of players.
For this second trial, Dalia hires 2 high-profile lawyers she's seen on TV, Mark Eiglarsh and Brian Claypool.
Defense attorney Brian Claypool, nice to see you both.
I am 5,000% sure Dalia Dippolito is innocent.
Dalia's new lawyers allow her to speak publicly for the first time, and that's when I had the opportunity to exclusively interview her.
Your every move is monitored.
Clearly, the strategy was for Dalia to try and undergo a bit of an image rehabilitation.
When people hear the name Dalia Dippolito, what do you think comes to mind?
Everything negative.
Give me 3 words to describe yourself. Who is Dalia Dippolito?
Understanding, sweet, and compassionate.
Because it was a pre-trial interview, Dalia's lawyers wouldn't let her discuss certain parts of the case, particularly those videotapes.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure. Like.
Did you hire a hitman to kill your husband?
No.
How do you explain then what we saw and what we heard on those videotapes?
I'd like to be able to explain that to you right now, but I can't because the attorneys legally have told me that we're saving that for our day in court.
In our interview, Dalia's lawyer, Brian Claypool, reiterated that reality TV defense that we saw in her first trial.
Dalia, her ex Mike, and this gentleman Mohammed were all part of this collaboration to put together a YouTube video of a scene where they're hiring somebody to kill somebody. They wanted to submit that, post it on YouTube to try to get acting parts. that was the plan. It got out of control.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
5,000% sure, not 100% sure, not 1,000% sure, but 5,000% sure. How do you explain that?
I look at that video and I see somebody who's struggling with whether she's really sure.
She's struggling? What?
Why? Well,
how is she struggling if she's 5,000% sure?
Well, you might find that humorous, but when I hear people say they're sure, I'm 110% sure. She's trying to overcompensate.
As for Muhammad, he denies working with Mike and Dahlia to make a video to try and get acting jobs. Mike DiPolito says he's never even met Muhammad.
What do you say to people who say you're just denying the undeniable, that this is an open and shut case?
That now with the attorneys that I have, so much is coming to light to where it would just be insane to not believe me. The tape it was a show, it was a tape. That was the purpose of it.
You were acting in those tapes?
Yes.
But you're telling the truth now?
Yes.
Why should we believe you?
Because it's what happened. It's the truth.
Dahlia DiPolito escorted into court by her attorneys for her second trial.
Dahlia's second trial is going to shock a lot of people in a number of ways.
Claypool dropped this bomb.
He just throws off like it's nothing. And by the way, if you send her to prison, you're going to be separating her from her infant son. What infant son?
Walking on the sidewalk right now, this doesn't happen very often.
No, this doesn't happen at all. This is the first time I've had to walk in a long time.
Yeah, your every move is monitored.
I took a rare walk with Dahlia DiPolito outside her lawyer's office while she was on house arrest, awaiting her second trial. She was living at her mother's house, tethered to an ankle bracelet.
This is what it looks like, and it doesn't come off at all.
You've been living under house arrest for the better part of 5 years, nearly 6 years. What's been the hardest part?
Not knowing when it's over, not being able to leave, watching everybody around me being able to come and go as they want, and I can't do that.
After Dahlia's first trial, she was convicted. Prosecutor Liz Parker wrote a book about it called Poison Candy.
This is what she wrote about you. She was poison candy, sweet, delicious, mouth-watering on the outside, but deadly within, and designed to cripple the innocent. What's it like hearing those words?
It's hurtful. When I found out that the book was out, I was suicidal.
Do you think people will change their minds about you when they hear from you in your second trial?
I'd like to believe so.
It's at a pretrial hearing, part of an attempt by her lawyers to get the case dismissed, where Dahlia finally has her chance to tell her side of the story under oath.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You take the witness stand on my right.
It's not unusual at all for a defendant to take the stand in a pretrial hearing as long as it's not in front of a jury.
Good afternoon, Ms. DiPolito.
She actually takes the stand, and she gets up and describes that I was acting, she says. I was acting.
We worked together on an acting project. We were all going to work on an actor's presentation to put up on social media.
That did not go well for Dahlia. Under cross-examination, the prosecutor, he just tore her story apart. He was, okay, first of all, where's the script? Where are the notes? Wouldn't you have production notes?
Where was your script this day?
What do you mean, where was it?
Where was it?
It wasn't there. We looked at the script and we didn't take it with us.
Prosecution punches holes in this reality TV defense. One of the questions was, if this is all about reality TV, how come you can't clearly see your face, with the cameras in the back of the car?
How come you can't see any of it?
I wasn't the one taking it. I don't know.
She had so many holes in her story, it made no sense.
her true self shine through. She was so not convincing at that pretrial hearing under oath that the court ruled against her.
She loses the hearing, and so the motion to dismiss the case fails.
9 months later, it's Dahlia's second trial.
The high-profile retrial getting underway today in West Palm Beach.
Dahlia Dippolito getting a second chance at freedom after her first conviction was overturned.
Trial 2 was handled quite a bit differently by the prosecution. They were going to stick to those videos, and that was it. They didn't even call Michael Dippolito to testify.
Because the rest of the evidence was so powerful, my prosecutors felt that they would just go with the slimmed-down version of the case.
Her words on those videos prove the crime charged.
In the second trial, Dahlia's lawyers abandoned this reality TV defense.
The defense focused on the misconduct, they said, of the Boynton Beach Police Department. They were trying to flip the script and put all the blame on the police.
So far, no mention of that reality show acting defense that she had talked about previously.
Gone is this reality TV nonsense. Now they're leveling their charges against the Boynton Beach Police Department because Boynton Beach had brought cops in.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? That opening theme song, Bad Boys, is so synonymous with the show, a show that is supposed to put a spotlight on the good work police do every day.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
At the beginning, the Boynton Beach Police Department really wanted to highlight their professionalism by participating with the cops' television show, but at the trial, the defense really hammered them and went after them, effectively putting them on trial.
This is a fake crime scene, right? Right?
Yes.
It's all pretend, right?
Yes.
It's all made up, right?
Yes.
And you think that's a good use of taxpayer money?
My opinion doesn't matter.
The presence of the cops' TV show created a frenzy within the Boynton Beach Police Department to manufacture good television. They tossed Dahlia Dippolito under the bus. They made this way more than it ever was. And they could care less about her constitutional rights.
The Boynton Beach police say there was no wrongdoing and they were just trying to gather evidence.
Cops filming with the Boynton Beach Police Department had nothing to do with this investigation. It was just a coincidence as far as timing was concerned.
Then the defense pulls out its ace card, and it's a showstopper.
Claypool gets up, he's making this dramatic closing argument, and he just throws off like it's nothing.
Give her that freedom back to go home to her family and her infant son.
By the way, if you send her to prison, you're going to be separating her from her infant son.
We all sort of were like the reporters in the back row. We're all sort of like, look, did I just hear that she has a child?
The latest bombshell was dropped last night during closing arguments.
Turns out it was the appliance repairman. He came to her house, they fell in love, she got pregnant, and she had a baby, all on house arrest.
And right now, we're on verdict watch in the Dahlia Dippolito retrial.
I think there was a general expectation that she would be convicted.
A bombshell announcement in the murder-for-hire case against Dahlia Dippolito.
We, the jury, feel that we cannot reach a unanimous decision.
The jury telling the judge late today they are deadlocked.
I must declare a mistrial at this time. There were 3 votes for guilty and 3 votes for not guilty.
Courtroom shocker, Dahlia Dippolito walking out a free woman after a judge declared a mistrial in her murder-for-hire retrial.
I can count on one finger the number of people in this country who felt we even had a chance in this case.
Whenever you don't get a conviction, you're disappointed. But I knew that we had a great team and we would do it again and perhaps do it a little differently.
Immediately after trial number 2, the state attorney, Dave Ehrenberg, said, "We are taking her to trial again."
There was not a second when we thought that we would let her go free. Not a second.
prosecutors vowing to try her a third time.
And so now we're going on to Dahlia Chapter 3.
This is the third time DiPolito has been on trial for this murder for hire case.
Heading into the third trial, prosecutors are certainly hoping that they can finally close the book on this case.
We knew she tried to commit murder, and she had gotten away with it thus far. And until we heard the word guilty, we were not going to be able to exhale fully.
This is the third time DiPolito has been on trial for this murder for hire case.
Well, the prosecutors for the third trial this time went back to the original strategy of putting on more of a prosecution.
We wanted the jury to get more context. We wanted the jury to see Michael DiPolito.
Introduce yourself to the jury for the record.
Hi, my name is Mike DiPolito.
By humanizing the victim, you impress upon them truly the importance of this case. It's vitally important that they put him on the stand.
Did her arrest for solicitation to commit first-degree murder shock you?
Yes.
Would it work? Well, in this third trial, it didn't take long for the jury to make its decision.
A verdict for the woman on trial in a murder for hire.
Well, some say 3 times a charm, but not for Dahlia DiPolito.
She was found guilty in 90 minutes. I mean, we were all a bit stunned. There was apparently no doubt in the jurors' minds.
16 years behind bars. That is the sentence for Dahlia DiPolito.
Dahlia DiPolito expressionless inside a Palm Beach County courtroom today, moments after learning her fate.
Dahlia's current release date is 2032. She serves the entirety of that sentence. She'd be 49 years old when released.
Dahlia, in jail, heads up a Bible study group. She misses her child dearly. Her mom has stepped up immensely to help take care of her little boy. He's a preschooler, and he comes to visit his mom in jail at least once a month. And Dahlia has described him as being very playful, very happy, very outgoing. She is still determined to get a new trial and to get vindicated.
Dahlia's attorneys have tried to get the verdict thrown out again.
Her case, she tried to get her case all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Earlier this year, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear Dahlia's appeal.
The Dahlia DiPolito saga is finally over. The reality show is done. The last chapter has been written.
We're still fighting, and we're going to file a federal brief to attempt to get a new trial for Dahlia.
After she left the prosecutor's office, Elizabeth Parker became Mike DiPolito's attorney and even helped get him off probation.
He paid all of the restitution that was owed to the victims.
Mike got engaged and seems to be moving forward with his life.
How much do you love this guy?
I love him a lot.
It's nice. Sometimes it's hard to accept something this good's happening to you.
He's very lucky to be alive.
It's not been an easy journey for him. He truly thought Dahlia was the love of his life.
Did you ever love Mike DiPolito?
Yes. I married him because I loved him. I was in a relationship with him because I loved him.
And now?
Now I wish I never would have met him.
Oh, I feel the same way. I wish I would have made a left, not a right. Trust me.